Hello everyone, my name is Aishwarya and my today's topic is the cardiac cycle of the human heart. As we know, heart is the pumping organ which converts the deoxygenated blood into the oxygenated blood by using the lungs. There are the four chambers present into the heart, that is the right and the left atria and the right and the left ventricles. The blood is the oxygenated blood throughout the body come into the right atrium, and the oxygenated blood come into the left atrium. After that, the blood from the right ventricle, which is the deoxygenated blood, uh, goes to the lungs for the oxygenation, and the blood which is the oxygenated blood from the left atrium goes into the left ventricle, and the left ventricle pumps the oxygenated blood throughout the body. This is the main function of these four chambers, and as we know, there are the specialized cells present into the heart, which are responsible for the pumping of the heart or the conducting impulse or the pumping of the heart. Also, the at the ventricular side, the heart muscle is thicker. There is the required greater potential to pump the blood, because the blood goes to the throughout the body, all the organs or the cells. So it is important to forceful pumping of the blood. Our main topic is the cardiac cycle. So what is the cardiac cycle? Cardiac cycle is the alternate sequence of the alternate contraction and the relaxation of the atria and the ventricle in order to pump the blood throughout the body. The cardiac cycle begins with the first heart uh, first heartbeat and ends with the starting of the beginning of the another heartbeat. So it is important for the pumping of the blood into the first gestational embryonic development phase. The heart firstly start pumping. From that to the death of the human, the heart pump. The heart do not stop or do not fatigue. There is the own pacemaker present into the heart, which is responsible for the pumping or the generating the impulse. So let's talk about how these impulses are generated. For that, there is the myocardial type of the cells, that is the specialized cells responsible for the generating of the impulse, and these electrical impulse are transferred from the one cell to the another cell through the interskeletal disc. The subspecialized cells called as the sinoatrial node is present into the right atrium at near the superior vena cava. So these subspecialized cells are responsible for the generating the impulse. These impulses are then generated and responsible for the contraction of the atria. After that, into the near the tricuspid valve, there is the atrioventricular node is present. The atrioventricular node is less faster than that of the SA node, because SA node is very faster for the generating of the impulse and the conducting of the impulse. After the AV node, there are the bundle of His. There are these uh, impulse are transported um, through the numerous projections. After that, they are spread into the left and the right bundles. After that, they are spread through into the all the muscles of the ventricles. So it is called as the Purkinje fibers, and bundle of his Purkinje fibers and the AV node. All of these are responsible for the conducting of the impulse from the one cell to the another cells of the cardiac muscle, and the contraction and the pumping of the ventricle. In this way, the impulse is generated and conducted. So let's talk about the how cardiac cycle is there is the cardiac cycle is of 0.8 minute, sorry, 0.8 second. Only in the 0.8 second the contraction, relax, diastole, systole, all the things are happen of the atria and ventricle. So let's talk about what is the diastolic phase and the diastolic phase of the atria and the ventricle, systolic phase of the atria and the ventricle. The diastolic phase means the relaxation of the both the atria and both the ventricles, and systolic phase is the contraction of the both the atria and the both the ventricle. But when atria are in diastolic phase, the ventricles are in systolic phase, and vice versa. So they are not in same stage. Okay. After that, let's start about the initial stage of the starting of the cardiac cycle. There is the feeling of the both the atria is started. Uh, Feeling started just before the milliseconds of the starting of the SA node of the generating of the impulse. So the blood is come into the left atrium from the pulmonary vein, that is the oxygenated blood, and from the superior and inferior vena cava, the deoxygenated blood come into the right atrium. When the both of them are filled, the contraction of them is started, the atrial pressure gets high, and both the valves, tricuspid and the bicuspid, are open, and blood goes into the left ventricle and the right ventricle. The impulse are generated, AV node impulse are generated and conducted and spread throughout the Purkinje fibers, and the contraction of the ventricle is started, and the semilunar valve are open, and the blood is pumped through the deoxygenated and oxygenated blood present into the right and the left ventricle are pumped. After that, the blood pump, so this is called as the stroke volume, and the remaining volume is the 40 to 50% is called as the end diastolic volume. After the impulse are generated, sometime again the means contraction happen. So the blood is go into the own 70% of the blood flows or the pumped through the ventricle, and this is the contraction phase of the ventricle. After that the systolic isovolumetric phases happen, and the both are goes into the um, diastolic phase and relax. So this is the cardiac cycle happen into the 0.8 second and pumps the blood. So feeling and the pumping is alternate to each other, and which is very important for the pumping of the blood. From the right atrium, the blood goes into the lungs for the oxygenation, and from the left ventricle, blood goes through the aorta, through the all the atria, and the atria are the conduct the blood throughout the body. Atria contains the oxygenated blood, and the veins contain the deoxygenated blood. The exception is the ventricles, pulmonary vein, which is contain the oxygenated blood. So in this way the cardiac cycle is conducted into the blood, into the heart, into the human heart. Now there is the coronary circulation happen. Into the coronary circulation, the capillaries and the arteries are responsible for the conducting the blood through the muscle of the heart. Heart is made up of the three layers of the that is the myocardium, epicardium, and pericardium. For the using these three layers, the heart is made up of. So uh, there is the production of the lubbed up sound for the when the these valves, both the valves, semilunar valves and the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves present into the septum of the atrioventricular surface, the lubbed up valve lubbed up type of the sound is produced, and which is we can hear by using the stethoscope. Uh, so this is it's all about my topic. Thank you.